Good evening and welcome back to West Ham and United. My name is Anton and I am here with your West Ham Daily, and things are hotting up. As you can imagine, we've had a summer of the Euros, we've had summer of rumours, we've had a summer of West Ham signing no players, we've had transfer talks, we've had consortium talks, we've had takeover bids, we've had no takeover bids. It is just consistently coming out with West Ham news. You know, myself and Stell spoke a little while ago about, you know, are we going to bring everyone daily content? And we were like, can we bring daily content? Well, absolutely, with abundance. There is absolutely loads of stuff out there. And we are going to talk to you today about what we have just seen coming out on a lot of the media platforms, mainstream media, talking about that the consortium that is trying to buy West Ham insist that they are serious about taking control of the club, despite their £400 million interest being written off by that man that we know as Mr. David Sullivan. David Sullivan said last week that no formal offers had been made and the stance was unchanged on Tuesday night. But, and the big but here is, Philip Baird, the former QPR, let me just get an image up there for you, the former QPR chief executive who is fronting the bid, has rejected that claim and insists that his consortium met the asking price and provided proof of funds when they made the approach in February. So let's take a look at the statement that Philip Baird actually put out there. In response to David Sullivan's comments about the nature and value of the bid put forward by the consortium, I can confirm that a formal offer was made, which was in fact the figure that David Sullivan had initially asked for. So think about this, right? You're talking about a club, and this is where I'm going to take the image off for a second here and have a brief chat. We'll come back onto that statement in a minute. So David Sullivan is asking for a number. So that's a good intention for anyone that's thinking the club is going to sell, that they are looking to sell. They've got a number in mind, and that is, just read into it as it goes. So he goes on to say his city lawyers were instructed and David Sullivan was provided with proof of funds. Now, David Sullivan is saying that he wasn't. We remain committed to pursuing opportunities to purchase the club. We've been actively working on this for over 6 months and have a strong vision for the club, the London Stadium and its place within the Olympic Park as a whole. It is backed by prominent personalities in sport, as well as West Ham legends who love the club and want to play a role in its development. We wholeheartedly welcome their support and hope that they will together have the opportunity to deliver the project that we have planned. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build West Ham United into a Londoners' club of global importance as a key part of the broader legacy being delivered at Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park. The fans and all of London deserve this. I've got more to read on it. It's not my intention to engage in a public debate on the comments made by David Sullivan last week, but upon advice, it is necessary to correct unhelpful and inaccurate statements. The current owners of West Ham have made controversial commercial decision to move the club from its historic home at Upton Park to London Stadium in Stratford. In my assessment and that of the consortium that I represent, the move is not fulfilling the needs of the club, its loyal fan base or the loyal community. There is a lot that can and should be done to improve the experience for all fans and visitors to the Queen Elizabeth Business Park. There's always a duty which we all share to the British taxpayer and to our Olympic legacy as Londoners, and ours is a London-based consortium. So get your comments in and let me know your thoughts on the statement that, of course, Philip Baird, former QPR chief executive, made. Once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build West Ham in a Londoners' club of global importance. Who is Philip Baird, you ask me? He quit his role as chief executive at QPR after saying his role changed when Tony Fernandes had came in and he'd been there for 3 years. He admitted that after the 3.5 years at Loftus Road, the role of CEO had changed, resulting in him deciding to leave the job. Whilst the changes had been positive at the time, the decision-making process which is evolving all the time at the club, he now felt that it was time to move on to other opportunities. Let me see what the next bit is. And where is it gone? There we are there. So people are asking what happens if West Ham were sold. Okay, so let's go through it. If West Ham were sold for more than £200 million before March 2023, a date that's always been in the mind of many, many West Ham fans, March 2023, the West Ham owners would need to pay a share premium to the London Stadium public owners. The London Stadium agreement was signed by West Ham and the LDC in March 2013, so this is 10 years later from that date, which clauses within the contract that says 12.5% must be paid if the club is sold between 200 and 300 million in the last 5 years of the 10-year anniversary of the contract commencement date. So it would then rise to 20% on sums over 300 million pounds. So if the club is valued, say, around 350 to 400 million pounds, then the owners of the club, if selling the club before that date, would have to pay a 20% premium back to the stadium owners. That's working out approximately anything between, depending on what the club sells for, it could be anything between, £6 million on Sullivan's head, £4 or £5 million on Gold's head. Trent Smith about £1 million odd quid, and the Brown and Harris family around £500,000. So, are they holding out for that potential sale? It's, I don't know. This one is going to grow arms and legs. I mean, this doesn't sound like this is going to go away. This sounds like this is going to grow arms and legs and have that snowball effect. But people want to know also, who are these people that are potentially coming in to look at West Ham and potentially take over West Ham? Who is the PAI Capital and what they could bring to our club? PAI Capital, or Profit Access Investments Limited, is a private investment company with offices in Hong Kong, Shanghai, and London. And according to their official site, this is an interesting one, they have a roughly £14.7 billion worth of assets under the management team, or euros, I should say, depends on how you want to look at it. This deal originally was stated to have other partners involved as well, the deal potentially to take over West Ham, but this seems to be more than enough cash to potentially get the deal done. So with them being based in London, that also helps having the ownership that is a domestic and close by. Additionally, in his statement that we've seen, he mentioned a few things that would certainly favour West Ham and its fan base. First off, if they were to buy the club, that they would appoint a new chairman of their liking. With that topic in mind, they would look to improve relations within the fan base, meaning a chairman that would hopefully look out for the betterment of the West Ham fans. Additionally, he made note that he would potentially appoint club legends to any form of powers that can be at West Ham. So having significant funds looking out for the best interest at fans and bring back a lot of West Ham legends who know the club inside out, is that a win-win for our club? So we know for a fact this deal is by no means close. Absolutely, it would be silly to sit here and think that this deal was potentially close. But we are talking about a consortium who are now publicly speaking out there and saying that they are interested and are going to keep pushing forward with the potential buyout. Now, listen, something else that's interesting is the talk about the former legend players, etc. Now, we do know, and we're hearing rumours that Tony Cottee is one of the players that's involved. We've heard about Tony Cottee being involved before several times over the last couple of years, but something that people didn't know about Tony Cottee was that he was involved in the Icelandic consortium with Egert Magnusson that took over West Ham in November 2006. Now, he did make a statement in November 2019 to the 442 magazine. He said he started the consortium in 2004. West Ham had just lost the playoff final and he thought, where's his club going? But West Ham were then promoted the season after and then doubled in value. He said he had 4 backers at £10 million each and he was about £30 to £40 million short. He needed a big backer as well as all the 4 West Ham fans. So they stumbled across the Icelandics. They had meetings and they said they were going to do it. Then suddenly they said, we don't want you, Tony Cottee, and we're going to do it ourselves. He said it would have been fine if they'd kept me involved, i.e. Tony Cottee. They had no football experience at all. Whoever takes over, you need football input, which you can kind of agree with the sentiments of what Tony Cottee is saying. But to add spanner into the works, Mr. David Sullivan, 3 or 4 days ago, 5, 6 days ago, whatever you want to call it, spoke to some other mainstream media and made the following comment. They did not produce any proof of funds and were looking to raise funds to do the deal. Sullivan says he felt like it was a property, not a football deal, and that the vague proposal was not in the best interests of West Ham, its shareholders, or supporters. He then led with, at no time did they mention any money being available for new players. We have no desire to sell the club, but get approached by many weird and wonderful people who lack the funds and have no experience in running a football club. Mr. Baird did a truly exceptional job at QPR working with Tony Fernandes. Having done so well there, he no doubt wanted to repeat the success at West Ham. Now, this is going to be interesting because it's going to go constantly back and forth. It's he says, she said, they said, who said what? We don't know. Now West Ham are being put out there. You know, we're hearing stories and people are making comments about West Ham's financial situation. You heard the Juventus, I can't remember if it was the director of football or the owner of Juventus speaking out and so happened to mention that West Ham, with a bunch of other clubs who were financially having problems. Now, listen, it's no question, there's no doubts whatsoever. Wherever your mindset is at, you know, we know that there's a big fan base that don't want the board at the club. I don't think there's a huge fan base that are proactively saying we have the best owners. I think there are some people that do want the board at the club, but we're in a situation here where we've got these guys that are, you know, do they have the backing? Do they have the money? It looks like they don't have the money that can escalate West Ham further. They've made mistakes. They've recovered from their mistakes by bringing David Moyes back. And look what happened last season. Now, if West Ham were owned by other organisations during a pandemic, would we have been financially secure? Nobody really knows. But what we do know is that we need people to come into the club and look after the club. Now, I'm not trying to say that if we get new potential owners and this consortium comes in and it sounds great and you've got club legends involved, it's going to be all rosy. And that's something we have to get completely out of our mind. It doesn't mean we just accept any consortium that comes in. It just means that we have to look at the right thing. Now, this is where I am praying and I'm hoping as a West Ham fan that, you know, I remember growing up as a kid and you would hear rumours about West Ham getting taken over and you would get excited. You would get excited, but you don't look into the detail behind what that actually means. So if you've got the Icelandics taking over, remind yourself back, you were absolutely buzzing. Mascherano, Tevez, money, club, brilliant, waha, woohoo, we're all buzzing with life. Then look how that turned out. It wasn't great. Then you've got Gold and Sullivan, sold a dream, excited, buzzing, moved to Olympic Stadium, bang, it all goes flat. So it's not always great and it's not always exciting. So I wonder if, you know, do we cutting off our nose to spite our face? Not that I'm sitting here sticking up for the GSB, because I definitely am not at all whatsoever, because there definitely needs to be movement there. We need to look at what the future holds for West Ham. They talk about innovation. We all in the world talk about innovation. We talk about the future. And if you don't have to be a brain surgeon to actually sit there and look at the whole situation when it comes to like even the Olympic legacy. So London had the Olympics back in 2012 and then shut the stadium straight after. And no one was allowed to go near that stadium until basically it was reopened. And it was an absolute joke. And they lost out on all this commercial value, all this money coming in for people wanting to go and visit the stadium, you know, this Olympic legacy. So I like what Philip Baird is saying. He's touching all the notes. He's given me the kind of the chill up my back. But after doing videos like this and looking a little bit deeper into it all, does that mean it's all going to be rosy? I mean, no owner is potentially going to come and say, you know, we don't know if we'll progress your club. they've got to say the right things to hit the note. And the thing that we need to know is, what is exactly your proposal? This is why the fans need to be involved. What is your proposal to make it a more exciting place to go? What is your proposal for the football ground? What is your proposal for the playing staff? How much money are you going to invest into the team? Where are you going to try and catapult West Ham to? Because we're fed up of these false promises that we were given before about this, and this. And not getting that, and that, So there's so many comments in here. I'm going to try my best to jump through as many as I can. As you all know, this does jump. So I'm going back up to as high as I can. James, good to see you. Thank you for joining us, mate. Thank you. Gary Rutter, I am well. Hope you are well too. Yep, I fully expected we'd get loads of these comments in here. And for anyone, including yourself, Graham, if you are here, please hit that subscribe button. If you're new around here and we haven't spoken to you before, please do. Gary, hope you're well. Thank you for joining us. Do you like circuses? Well, that's a good question to ask any person potentially coming into West Ham, because that's sometimes where we kind of maybe feel that we are. Happy Hammerette, hope you're well. Good to see you. Gordon Buchanan, I don't want West Ham to be like Chelsea or Man City. GSB in, it's an interesting one. I didn't think I would see that. John Lally, evening Anton, good to see you. Thank you very much. Can't believe the crap writing about us. Rob's projector wall. What do you mean, Rob? Are you talking about what the consortium are saying or what the club are saying? And Gary, I'm not saying it is going to happen, remotely not, but what we are saying is that this takeover offer is a real deal. It is the real deal. We weren't too sure if it is the real deal, but it is the real deal. They are interested and want negotiations with the club. It sounds like there's so far to go, and it probably won't happen because David Sullivan's shutting down that potential offer. Now, what's really interesting is he's put a value out in the club, and I'd really be intrigued to see what his value is from the club. Why can't we have owners like Leicester? Nobody knows. Good to see you, Jordan. Thanks for that. But please hit the thumbs up, of course. Careful what you all wish for, and there is an element of that, James, and I hope I got that point across. And yeah, you've got to look at the Leicester owners. They've come in, they've put the money where the mouth is, but it's not just that. It's about the relationship with the fans. It's about their investment into the training facilities, the reinvestment into the playing squad. They've got a good scouting system, all that sort of stuff. But things that we could have built when we first had Moyes originally. I'm going to sneeze, so apologies. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I stopped it. Clive, good to see you. Thank you very much. Gordon Buchanan, Leicester owners are 1 in a million. They absolutely are. Gary J, it helps that West Ham United is one of the greatest bunch of supporters in the world. It does. Allied Irons, I just don't trust anything Sullivan says. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't really know who does, to be honest. So many comments, but all this he said, she said in public ain't good in my opinion. Don't want to go back to Iceland, absolutely. But I get the sentiment why Philip Baird had to speak out. If David Sullivan is saying, well, we didn't receive an offer, didn't receive proof of funds, then he sounds like he's gone to his lawyer and they've offered advice by going, well, no, put a public statement out saying you have provided that. Now you've got a situation where you've got a potential buyer and an owner now saying completely different things. And that's leaving us, and that's the point that you're making. It's not good to air that out in public. But what else do you do if, maybe it's a way that Philip Baird's going to get the backing of the fans? I don't know. Charlie Painter, selling the club. Although I detest GSB, the club cannot go from the frying pan into the fire. And there's a lot of people that do think like that. But this, Happy Hammerette, you don't have to do you, or can you believe this Baird crap? I take it you mean to say either. I believe, I don't know if you're saying the offer wasn't there. They're definitely interested. They wouldn't come out to the public domain and say that they were interested, but they are. We'll see. We swerved the curveball when Fernandez didn't take over, as we fans ain't got a clue who these new consortium are and what they really want. Getting Russian. Oh, God. Steve Irons. Yeah, I know. And I think very quickly, Tony Fernandez went into QPR and spent an absolute fortune. I remember they brought in Christopher Samba, didn't they, from Blackburn, who's a good player at the time, just offered him what he wanted. It was that kind of story when you had Man City. Was it Leeds? It was Leeds when they were offering players contract, and Danny Mills actually has a famous thing about that story. When he goes in to do the player negotiations, he goes for the high end of what he wanted to make, and he got that without having to negotiate. I'm not a fan of what happened with QPR. That worries me. So Philip Baird, the one thing I didn't actually find out was, when did he take charge of QPR? I'm just trying to work out how exactly I would find that out. If someone can get that, actually, that would be pretty cool to find out. He was, I can't get that just now, but it's going to take my mind off it. But I'd be intrigued to know, because I don't know if he was heavily involved during the initial takeover at Tony Fernandez's time. It makes sense why we haven't signed anyone yet. GSB are holding off for a better offer than 400 million, and I hope they sell. I mean, rumours are saying that we're potentially close to agreeing some deals with a couple of players. Whether that's true or not, I'm not too sure. QPR worked, didn't it? Well, I don't know. But I do not want to stay at an Athletic Stadium, Villa Stadium, where the fans are now based in Essex. It would never happen, no, Charlie. We're here, takeover bids every season. We do, Gary, we do, but we never hear from the potential consortium. So I'm not trying to say this is definitely going to happen, because I don't think these guys probably will take over the club. It's just the fact that this offer is real, and we never know. I mean, if they come back and make a bigger offer, and an offer that David Sullivan wants, then it could grow arms and legs, and it probably will. Cal Nort, he's certainly playing on key points that he knows infuriates West Ham fans. Absolutely, nail on the head, mate. Why do this now, just before the season about to start? Well, the thing is, this offer actually happened back in February, so this is dated information. It's just coming out into the public domain because David Sullivan done his statement last week to the BBC News. You know, in theory, you could say, why would David Sullivan bring it up then, rather than not bring it up a long time before the season's about to start? That's the key part for me. Why would David Sullivan bring that out into the media platform if there wasn't something? Was he trying to get a reaction from them? I don't know. David, I believe Sully was capable of lying. He's done it before. GSP out. Happy, right? I've heard that during a takeover, we can't make any transfers. Is this true? And if it is this why we haven't signed anyone yet? I mean, we're not. I don't believe for a second. I mean, I can't categorically say it, but I don't think this is anything happening. So who's the potential owners? Hopefully, I've gone through that and let you know who they are. How can you West Ham fans ever trust GSB now? Jordan, I hope so. Miss Hammer, I'll throw a party if it happens. Clive, surely anyone is better than the Delta brothers. They're London-based and want Globe. Go wrong. Believing Sullivan is like believing Boris. I'm not going to get political. It's old news. February, just an excuse not to buy players. Yep, could be. Like and subscribe, people, please do. Chris Harris, it's a bit more convoluted than that. Anton, loans have to be accounted for. Chips, month money, etc. This all relates to the 20%. Funny, Chris, I don't think, from my understanding, that the loans actually are involved. I've got some detail on that here. If you give me 2 seconds, from my understanding, let me just get that here. Right. So the situation I am told is that banks and shareholder loans can be subtracted from the tax calculation. That's what I'm led to believe. Joshua, good to see you. Thank you very much. If it does happen, I hope they trust Moyes with transfers. I don't understand this. It's better the devil you know. Do we want GSB out or not? Can we go forward with Sullivan or not? Make your minds up. Yep, there is an element of that as well. Father Snowman, good to see you. Can hit the 100 likes. It'll be interesting to see their real motive is. Maybe it could be for the land. Charlie, surely it's 20% on anything above 300 million and not the whole lot. It is 20% over any offer of the club of 300 million and above, but you can subtract banks and shareholder loans can be subtracted from the tax calculation as well. So it depends on what the club is valued at and what the owners value the club at. I don't trust this at all. 1 out of 6 of us is watching. I've liked. Come on, click the thumbs up, please. 14 billion sold. Hong Kong, Shanghai, Peckham. Hope we get Andy Carroll back. Oh God, could you imagine? Cannot see them paying what Sullivan is asking for anyway. Possibly too. I heard they asked what Sully said he wanted, 400 million. James Bong, I'm glad they're London-based. At least we're guaranteed zero greedy corruption. Chris Harris, Sullivan said they're not interested in the club but the grounds, but Baird stated that Sullivan never asked about the plans for the club, all about the price. That's the interesting part. We should re-sign Joey O'Brien. Remember that? Oh no! Sorry, not Joey O'Brien. Yeah, of course we should. But do you remember the link to Joey Barton? And then the fan base spoke out, and then the club pulled out of the deal. Our team is worth £250 million alone. I think they'll have to offer at least 500 million to own the entire club. Well, what do you value the club at? I don't agree with GSB. I've done Upton Park, but will no owners be any better? Who knows? I'm not too sure. Even though I'd be surprised if Tony Coyle wasn't involved. He's set on helping the club. Absolutely. Proof of funds were supplied. Absolutely. Spanner, you've got to mention. Better the devil you know. Please don't. Ultimately, we don't know who's telling the truth. The likely reality is they're both lying to some extent. Oh God, it's just so many to go through. TrevTube, it's proof of viable funds, apparently. Is that where the controversy lies? I don't know. I mean, Sullivan saying he didn't get the proof of funds, and Baird is saying that they gave them. So, who's telling the truth? Happy, we can only hope owners like Leicester come in for our club. The Mancs hate the Glaziers, but at least they're all buying players. Toby, Leicester have the best owners. They really, really do. Concentrate on signing players for the new season. We don't need this rubbish now. True, Gary, true. Okay, I wonder that QPR fans thought the tenor in charge at the club. Did they not get warned about GSB by the Birmingham fans when they bought us 10 years ago? They do. Toby, the passion to live for the club is unfathomable. WHU, not sure I like consortiums. I'd rather buy a buyer, as in the Leicester City model. It's worth the risk. Is it though? Is it? That's a good question. Is it? He's hoping for a Middle East consortium coming in so he can pocket a few more quid. Kimball, my money is on they're both lying and the truth is somewhere in the middle. Probably is, Toby. Chris Harris, Leicester do have the best owners, but no one knew how they would be until they were allowed to buy the club and show fans. I can't buy into this better the devil you know ethos. Yep, it works every way. Jim White and Talksport are the only people talking up GSB. They certainly do love Sullivan and Gold, don't they? Jordan Dare, they don't even want to invest the money into the club anymore. That's why they're looking for investors. We need owners that can afford to keep us competing around the top four consistently. Where are we now? God. We need more friends. Oh, God, it's jumped. Why has it done that? Where has it done that? It's so frustrating. I'm trying to go back up as far as I can. When we're sitting around the fourth spot in January, PAI isn't very old, formed this year. Peter Kanan, Sullivan claimed that the consortium were only interested in West Ham United as an investment and not the furthermore of the club. While I doubt Sullivan's words, I would want to see proof of investment in West Ham United. Anton, I read the article in Sky Sports, to be honest. It made JSB look bad, to be honest. What West Ham legends are giving this consortium the thumbs up. Love the article. Let's hope. True. It's hard to know how much of this is nonsense. Absolutely, Steve. We don't want oil money as it'll be worthless soon. So when we drive our electric or water fuel cars soon, yeah, maybe we need a big electric company to come in and see. Vinay, GSB can't give Soufal a contract that respects his contribution and importance to the team. So I'm tilting to GSB out. I don't know where I'm at with the whole contract renegotiation on Soufal. Don't know what to really believe with that, if I'm being brutally honest. I'm a bit unsure. I'm unsure because you hear stories all the time. Are you telling me every story broken out in the mainstream media is true? They're not. They're absolutely not. And there's something in that one. You know, the guy's on holiday. The guy's not back at the club yet. I don't know. I'm really confused about who knows what anymore. I used to believe everything that came out, and well, I didn't actually, because it was always proven to be, some of it wasn't true and some of it was factual. All we can believe for certain is you should whack the like button. Cheers, Toby, mate. Thank you for joining us again. Sullivan will say he couldn't get the players we wanted because Baird was a distraction. Let's hope it's not. The Icelandic model borrowing was built on the USA property market that collapsed when the market crashed. West Ham owners at the time in heavy debt. Enjoy the video, guys. They always beg for likes on here, so just ignore it. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Let me see what this is going on. I've just had a. Let me see. We are progressing. This is from Howard Ailes. We're progressing as a club. We need to sustain it if we are to fulfill our potential as a huge sleeping giant. They've done okay, but they can sustain. But can they sustain our development? And this is the thing about what's currently happening at West Ham. You know, we need to know, is there funds there? And I think that's, you know, David Moyes is never going to speak out and well, maybe he would speak out and say, well, do you know what? The board haven't backed me. If West Ham don't sign players, then I'm pretty adamant David Moyes will make a statement, or not like a damning statement, but it'll be a bit like what most managers will do. People will ask him, why have you not brought players in? And he'll turn around and say, well, I've asked and we couldn't get them in. So it'll be, I think I still have faith we'll bring players in. I have a spanner and I'm not afraid to use it on non-likers. Kimbo, football used to be a sport, now it's a business. And yes, you are right. You are absolutely right. We took one step forward last season. It feels like we're taking 2 steps backwards. But Gary, I can't fall there. I don't say that. I don't see that because the season hasn't started. Yes, I know we need to get some strength and depth, but there's still time. I'm not saying I agree with it. I would rather have had players in early. But if we've got to believe what Moyes is saying, then we need to wait and see and get quality over quantity. There's just not enough information to make the informed decision at the moment. Absolutely. Good to see you, Peachy boy. Hope you're well, my man. It's like a long episode of Jeremy Kyle. Yep, absolutely. Welcome to the West Ham world. There is a rumour Anton Ferdinand and the other Hammers he has a consortium with Zamora, Noble, and others are trying to buy Southend United. Could this be part of that? I'm not too sure. We were 1 win from the Champions League and we've spent a big fat 0 yet, but see what happens. To be pleased, not Jeremy Kyle, but I know what you're saying. People slate the board, and sometimes rightly, but I walked past the stadium Sunday and the surroundings. There's no way this club doesn't have huge potential in that stadium, from Alex Gonzalez. And it depends on what way you need to look at it. And I suppose it depends on the marketing team and how the message is put across to the fans. And do people listen to the fans? Don't know. Fresh fielder, I did. When someone reported David Sullivan break his silence. Do I think they will sell the club eventually? Yes, just don't know when. When the Leicester owner died in that terrible helicopter crash, the entire city mourned his loss. Yep. Jim White, Mr. Brown, Nose to Gold, and Sullivan. Yeah, I didn't really realise the statement there. In my mind, we were forced into stadium by the government and Newham Council to save it. Let me see here. Gizzle, mate, I haven't seen you for a while. Hope you're well. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Oh my God, how do you catch up with the comments? Pete Smith, you're all talking to each other, which is really good. Where's David's gold say in all this? He does take a back seat, doesn't he? He really does. Where are we now? Am I the only person that actually likes a lot about our stadium despite the negatives? This is a good question. Do you like the West Ham Stadium? Have you been? And if you have been, what's your thoughts? Can you take positives from it? You've said that. I think you've said that, Lazzy, about a bloody load of times. I think Baird started at QPR in 2012. So if he started there in 2012, something good to see you, Luke, as well. Something makes me think that when did Tony Fernandez take over QPR? That's the key question, and I'm just getting that answer for you now. 2011, he was there. He took it over in 2011. So we'll see. Stu, I feel like we've got to the point that Moyes has been able to shape the team to his vision. Wouldn't want new ownership to jeopardise that. It's a good point. It really is. You got the thumbs up, Anton. Cheers, Gary. Hey guys, nice to have been nice to be on. Hey guys, nice to be on. Been a while. Yep, absolutely, mate. While you're there, give me 2 seconds. And let me see if I can get this sent across. Do me a favor though, guys. If you are watching, please hit the thumbs up. Of course, we're doing 100 like target. So I don't know where we're at. If someone can give me a rundown on what we're at in terms of the target, then let me know. But please hit the thumbs up. And if you are new around here, please also hit the subscriber button as well. That really helps the channel, push the channel forward, and we can then move on to the next stage. Let me just see if I've got this through and I can send this on. Come on, I think it's coming as we speak. Kimbo, how much was the bid? As we don't own the ground and our training facilities are not good enough. The rumor is it was about 400 million. Is it coming? It is. There we are. So just give me 2 seconds. I'll get that sent. Copy. There we are. There we are. There we are. And that's sent. So check your message. February was last financial year. Now, after April and the new year, GSB realised they're not coping, hence released to media. Reference the attempted buyouts. Good point. Absolutely. Been spending a little bit quality time with Michelle. How's Michelle H? How you doing, bro? Happy I'm right. Behave. Arched Barley. The counter is, tell you what, invest 400 million, buy the stadium, fix the stadium, clear some debt, and get on with developing the team. West Ham cannot leave London. No, we won't. Leicester signing Pereira would make sense. They sign quite young players, and his price will only increase. Hi everyone. We're still don't know. Dalek, let's sign the greatest of them all. Alan Devonshire. Absolutely, this club will never move forward with this filth here. Fully expected lots of comments with this. I had COVID and recovered from the last month. Look, you didn't actually say you had COVID. Did you say that? WHUFC, remember any future owners will eventually buy the fishbowl, add that to the value. Yep, absolutely. Sorry, Luke, I hope you're well as well, of course. Has there been a successful consortium in the Premier League history? Well, I've read it to you. The Icelandic guys were successful in buying over West Ham. They just ditched Tony Cottee. Where is this here? It's just the poisoned dwarf. Go down his usual preseason smoke and mirrors routine. This stinks so bad that I can smell it in Canada. Oh my word! Why does this jump? We were talking to someone else today. Said that's done. Where are we here? I don't know why this is. I don't know why this does this. I don't know why this website does this. Power should be earned. Consortiums are only interested in 6-letter word beginning with P, ending in T, and there's absolutely. Can we have Mr. Payne's opinion? Look, what did he make you do to get the spanner? You seem genuinely bitter. Well, what's he done? He gave her this pit. He's not a happy man, is he? Oh, cheers, Peach. Good to see you, mate. Anton, you're a G for real. Good man. I'm fine, mate. I just missed my bus after work and I had to walk home. Come on, Lucky boy. You develop, not constantly tread water in the red. Gary, I'm saying this takeover. I'm saying with this takeover talk, Anton, we don't need this now. Could be a big excuse. It could be. It really, really could be. Moderators, can you take me out for 1 minute? I want to see what it feels like when a power bigger than me can affect my life. We'll follow Happy Hammerette's instructions then, Jordan, and then if you don't, then you'll get timed out. If they pay Yarmolenko's wages for sitting in his arse, they can afford Soufal. West Ham should approach Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk to buy the club. Yeah. Where are we? Confused. Consortiums either asset strip or aim to sell a profit for a short period. They're going to invest in anything long term that doesn't add immediate value. We all know they won't sell until after 2023, so they don't have to pay us any tax. So regardless of how much money is offered, they are not willing to pay 40% tax. It's a spanner party in here. It really has. Brad, I hope we apply scrutiny when looking at new owners and not just settle for the first proper offer we have seen, and we can be sold a lie again. Now, listen, we have a guest coming on. Are you ready for this? There's 198 people watching live, and we have a guest coming on at 10 past midnight. He's been in the chat. He's a little bit moody. He's a little bit grumpy. He's been digging people out, and I didn't think it was nice, and I thought we were going to have to put him on a timeout. But no, it's not Still. I know I've described Still, but it's not Still. It's Still's son. Look. Lucky boy, how you doing, my man?
I'm okay. I've got to be quiet, but I'm okay. How are we?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you're good. Listen, let's just get right into the nitty gritty, mate. I hope you're well. Are you better?
Fine. I'm all good. I'm fine.
Good man. Right. So you have read some of the stuff about the consortium potential takeover. Now, just to break it down again for anyone that's watching, it's just coming in. The consortium offer was made back in February, and it's now been made public about some of the comments that were made. David Sullivan said there was an offer, but it wasn't good enough, and they didn't provide proof of funds. Whereas the potential consortium that's looking to take over spoke out officially and said, we did make an offer, And we did provide proof of funds. What do we do? Where are we at? Do we need this right now? Do we not?
Right, you're slightly lagging a little. So I take it I'm not. Just fingers crossed I'm not. This is the problem, right? When you hear QPR mentioned in a takeover, automatically think Tony Fernandez, everything going wrong, QPR relegated. Obviously, he's not Tony Fernandez. He's someone that worked there, so it could just be the back who kind of he was a role. Maybe he could have thing deal when he was the real he was keeping him up. I don't know, but for me, this is for I think when there was a previous consortium who were coming in, and Sullivan said, "There's no proof. There's no proof of money. There's no proof of anything," and they went, "But you had your chance. See you later. Bye." And it never happened again. And then they breathed a sigh of relief, going, "Oh, I haven't got to sell the club yet." Everything that's happening now, when we get linked with a takeover, when they first took over at the club, everything that they say now in regards to people coming in is going against when they first come in. So when they first turned up at the club, they always said that we will take investors, we will listen to people who want to invest in the club and stuff like that. What really that means is, can you just give us a lien and then just not bother with the club anymore, basically? What they don't realise is that when is coming in, so it doesn't work out. They've always said they need to work out, but they're greedy. It's their club. What they want to do is they want to make the most money out of the club and only come in when they basically want what they want the ability to come in. They want people to just go in, his cash, his bags of cash, and they're not getting that. You know me, and so now I'm GSB out. So anyone is good news, right? No worse than the. I'm not saying that in.
Well, just let me quickly add. Let me just add something to that, right? So this is what we mentioned earlier on. Is anyone better than the current owners? Because we can't cut off our nose to spite our face. We've had many conversations over the last several years about the owners, where we're at. We both know each other's take on it. We both agree on where we're at with it. But I've got to look at the certain situation and look at other clubs that are ran and what financial situation that they're in. We do have a lot of leaks. We live and breathe what we do. We do the Irons United channel. We hear stories. But now it's a case of, what do you actually believe? You're talking about a consortium that are coming in. Now, if they haven't provided proof of funds, they said they have. Sullivan said he's not. We're prone not to believe Sullivan because of the history we have with him. But if he is talking the truth and he's saying that they aren't coming in and doing the right thing for the club, if they have given the right price for the club, then what is actually going on? And I would be concerned with some ownership coming in that would rattle the cage too much when we can't afford for the cage to be rattled if they don't have the backing. That's where I'm at. Go for it.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying 100%. But what I was going to say was, for the position that we're in, that stadium is sort of perfect for any proper business people to come in and take it over, right? We're like renting a council flat, and we're just keeping it nice, but we're not really improving it at all. We're just sort of renting it out and doing what we can. And that's it, right? The problem is that, for me, where we are now is purely down to Moyes. Moyes' scouting, Moyes' structure, Moyes'. They have got so lucky with him coming in and managing the way he has done. They didn't expect to get it. This is the problem. They didn't expect us to achieve what we achieved last season. So now they're thinking, shit, we got to invest now, and they haven't. He's basically called their bluff. Now they haven't got any more money to give out. They haven't got any more money to spend on transfers. So they're saying, well, the only way you're going to make money, mate, is by selling players. Now he's had to take a loss on profit to get rid of players that don't really want to be there. That's like Anderson and Luck. So at the moment, I don't see how it rocks the boat. We haven't signed anyone. We played well in pre-season, and I'm buzzing for the new season to start. I think we're playing really confidently. but it's not like we've changed from the end of the season. Nothing's changed. In fact, there's less players now than there was before. So the only thing these owners can do is bring positivity into their club. And we're doing well on the pitch, fantastic. We're doing brilliantly on the pitch, right? But that is down to Moyes and the team. That's nothing to do with the owners. So I don't see how a consortium coming in is going to make things worse, because the only thing that's going to happen is they're going to bring more players. No, ask yourself this: in the history of owners taking over, has there ever been more players going out when the club's taken over than there is players coming in? And the only positive really is that we've got a manager that likes working with a small squad, doesn't like particularly working with a big massive squad. So having Moyes there is gold dust for us. But without Moyes, we're fucked. That is so I don't want to swear because I don't know if you can hear me, but it can only be a good thing, and there's no way you can mess this up, because we're not in a position where, if we'd signed 5 players, say if we'd signed 3 or 5 players already in the summer window, and they were bedding in, and things were changing, and the squad getting used to each other and stuff like that, and maybe if we were definitely going to start blooding the youth and bringing things in, but. Look! I know you don't like social media. I know you don't like Twitter and Facebook and all sorts of stuff like that, right? But the general consensus when you go to, West Ham games and you hear the crowd reaction, it genuinely goes along with what's been said on social media through the week. Now, we've reached the Europa League, right? Everyone knows when you get to the Europa League, unless Moyes is absolutely adamant and determined and knows exactly what he's doing up there for the next season, you need a full squad. You need pretty much 2 squads. You need squad for the league and the Europa League, and you need league players for the cup. So if you haven't got that, you are basically saying we're going to just blag it, see how far we can get and everything. And it doesn't. At the moment, we seem competent because we're doing pretty well in pre-season, but pre-season doesn't mean nothing. Come Newcastle away, that's the big time. And if you haven't got the players, if Ogbonna's injured, who expected Ogbonna to get injured again like he did? So we're down to the bare bones. So if this consortium could come in and go, here's your money, because they can have more money than Sullivan. Sullivan's got nothing. Do you know what? I guarantee you this for 100%. When Sullivan came in the first interview he had, he said, we're in so much debt, we've saved this club. I guarantee you now, we are actually in more debt than when he took over. And that's why we've got no money. We're having to sell players off on the cheap because we can't afford to keep them on with their wages. So this takeover, any takeover.
The situation we find ourselves in is that obviously because the owner signed the deal with the LLDC back in March 2013, that we have known for a long time that the owners probably won't sell the club up until a minimum of March 2023, because if they do, they'll have quite a large tax payment that they'll need to pay. The club's valued over the tax bracket, which means they'll pay a 20% tax on it, which we shared throughout all the owners. So Sullivan will take the biggest hit, Gold next, Trent Brown next, and then the other kind of owners, Trent Harris, and then Brown and the other kind of consortium, etc., that's there would have to pay a lower amount. But you're talking about the best part of maybe 6 odd million for David Sullivan, 5 odd million for Gold, and it kind of disperses all the way down through the club. So why would the club look at selling when they could probably hold their asset right now? Now, I'm not trying to say it, but it means that we probably are saying that we just don't believe anything that David Sullivan says. However,
I don't.
No, I know that, but I'm just being a little bit of a devil's advocate as well. You think about the club through the pandemic, and you think about we paid all the wages of all the staff. We didn't take the furlough system. Arsenal took the furlough scheme, and then had to pay all the money back, but we didn't. We are still here where other clubs are questionably in more financial dire straits than us. I'm not trying to. I want a new. We need a new direction. I don't doubt for a second that West Ham need a new direction. I feel like we do. I said it earlier on in the show. It's all about innovation. It's all about trying new things. But I just don't want to, any consortium that comes in and we accept it. And I think back to the Icelandics. I can't help it because I was excited, and they hit every single pressure point as a West Ham fan. Look, every pressure point was, we'll bring you the players you want. Tevez, Mascherano, Craig Bellamy, Lucas Neal, you name it, and we'll fire money at them and we'll bring them in. Freddie Ljungberg, we were all buzzing. We all bought the shirts that had XL on it. XL went bust. We then bought the shirts and got a patch put over the shirts. Like, it was just wasn't great. And we all know when people are talking now, this is dated. This is a dated thing, February, but they're speaking out to say this is genuine and we're not stopping yet.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Basically, you're saying look, for me, right? I hate the owners. I think they're almost like the scum of football, scum of the earth, right? But the other side is I don't think they're good enough. Can that comment be deleted, please? Because I just know I'm getting ripped to pieces in the comments, but I haven't had the chance to look at the comments yet. So, but fundamentally, just on a serious note, they're not good enough to run a top tier Premier League team. They are just good enough to get you up from the Championship and then keep you mid-table. You know, they failed with the Pellegrini project. That's what's bitten them in the arse. That's what's killed everything for them. Is that the Pellegrini project didn't work. But tough. You run a Premier League football club. When you went to the stadium, you said we're going to sign world-class players and we're going to put this team in the top 6. You haven't done that. Moyes has done that. That's the whole thing. So for me, they're simply not good enough. And I can't see any consortium with the way West Ham are running at the minute being worse. That's just my opinion. But before I go any further, I just want to say hi to all the people I was talking to before I come on, because I'm very passionate about this subject and I completely forgot to say hello to everyone. So happy Admirat and all that and all the others. If you've been taking the piss out of me, fair enough. Love you. Don't matter. did miss my bus and I did get a bit aggy, so no. But yeah, it's good to be on. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while, lucky boy. It really has.
Not available, mate. Just not available anymore. That's the problem.
Steve Hammershark saying, with Donald Trump being more popular owner, would you accept Donald Trump as your owner?
What the wall that he said
anyone.
Build.
You said anyone.
Oh my God, you're like a lawyer. Well, he went to build his wall and didn't build his wall, did he? So he's just like Sullivan. He's just like Brady. He's just off the same milk.
There you go. Clive is agreeing with you. You're bang on with your importance of Moyes' input and efforts. We've been linked with Phil Jones, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Ross Barkley. God help us if any of them come true. Not good enough. I disagree on 2 of those players, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Ross Barkley. I think they're the perfect fit for a David Moyes project. I genuinely do. I think they...
Injury prone. They're good, but they're injury prone.
Well, see, I've not done I need to do my little bit more homework on Oxlade-Chamberlain. I want to know what his injuries are. Danny Ings' injuries would concern me, because they are deep lying tissue damage, cruciate ligament injuries, etc. I'm not particularly too sure about Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'm pretty adamant Ross Barkley didn't have any of them, did he?
He had at Villa. I think when he went to Villa, he was on a good run, and he had bang. The problem with Barkley, I've heard, is that he got injured, was fit again, but his attitude completely soured, and who's the old Villa manager, went off him, said, no, your attitude's very, very poor. Just went off it. A bit like when Carroll used to get injured. He had no enthusiasm to come back. I don't think that Moyes wants to sign Premier League fringe players. I think he'd much rather sign Championship players that are hungry for the opportunity, like Bowen. And I think West Ham are getting to that point now where we're in a position to go, if you want to come to our club, okay, you play for Liverpool. Okay, you play for Chelsea. But if you come to our club, you got to prove you're good enough for this team. And it's whether or not those egos, because they've been at these big clubs, can go, okay, fair enough. Or they go, you're West Ham. You just made Europa League. Who are you? So I trust Moyes. I've got we've got no chance to, but I do trust Moyes, and I don't think he had a good players on the day. But in 2 years' time, if we did sign him this season, would we be saying the same thing? So it's an interesting one. I wouldn't say on their day fantastic players, but you know.
Look who's joined us. Look, he can't help himself.
I can't fucking help. I can't stand it.
Fucking bollocks that you're both talking.
He was going to bed.
Absolute fucking bullshit. I was in bed listening to this and I thought, no way. I can't come on. Gotta come on.
Where's Linny, by the way? Is Linny there?
She's in bed.
By the way, where are you now? You've got about 3 different areas. I've only got 2 places that I've I do my videos.
We had a new sofa delivered today, and I had to move the whole fucking shebang around because it's too big.
You've got a shed, like you got under the stairs, like Anton.
I wish I had a shed, mate.
You live in a much bigger house than Anton, so you're under the stairs. It's like a massive room, I reckon, isn't it? When you're on the money, you're on still. Good boy.
Right. I'm actually quite annoyed that Stel's come on because I was thinking. Do you know? No, because I was thinking bedtime, and it never ends up
too
being
late for
bedtime.
that.
Mate, you brought me on rant mode. You brought me on. What were you thinking? What were you thinking?
Stel, I've read some of your comments in the chat, right? So I know you were saying there your concerns about any consortium not providing proof of funds. The way where I'm going with this chat is you've got two different comments from one owner, one purchaser.
Yeah.
The purchaser.
Well, the one thing I agree with Luke on is look what happened at QPR. So I'm not so sure that this consortium is going to be any good. But I know people are so go on about we need to get the board out. We need to get the board out. Be careful what you wish for is the mantra, because you just don't even know what could come. You know, you don't know what this consortium, from what I understand, will end up burdening the club with debt in order to buy the club, in order to give. Hang on, Luke. In order to give the manager money to buy players, and it will happen. And if that happens, it will be where's he gone? If that happens, it will be a bit like the Glaziers who have bought over Man United.
Ding, 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 round one.
It'll be like the Glaziers who bought Man United, and this consortium is going to go in there. They're going to go in there to make money. If anyone thinks that any owners or prospective owners are going to come in and do what's best for the club, then you're fucking idiots. Because one thing's for sure is that the reason why you go and buy a football club is because you want to make money out of it, whether it's the current owners or any new owners. So if we think that we're going to be saved by anybody, you're all fools, I'm afraid.
Just going to say there could be quite a few people in this chat. There could be quite a few people in this chat who thought they're going to come in and change the club for the better because they want to. So for all of you watching,
how do we know this?
No, hold on.
How do we know?
Just come on, wait your turn. All right. So all those people who thought that, you're idiots. Apparently, you're idiots and you're fools. Apparently. But anyway,
well, I think if you think that anyone's going to come and buy a club and not want to make money out of it, then you're fools. Sorry.
Anyway, hold on.
If I want to buy a business, I want to make money out of it. Simple as that. No two ways about it.
Over to you, Luke.
Done? Is he? No, he's not done.
I'll mute him. I'll mute him. Go.
Okay, that's fine. I actually agree with you still. Right? I was going to agree with you. I don't think people are idiots, by the way, if you're watching this. I don't agree with him. I think you're lovely people, and thank you for watching and doing the thumbs up, because we're getting a few thumbs down now, I think, after that little rant. But I do agree it is purely down to business. They're not looking at West Ham and going claret and blue, lovely. They're going East London, get rid of that. We're all about London now. But the thing I was going to ask you two is, I know what you're saying, and I know there's a part of you that are actually comfortable having the way you talk. You're comfortable with having GSB in because frankly, it's all you know. It's all we all know. But,
no, I'm very old, and I know previous owners, Luke.
I know,
we've lived through previous owners, and GSB, they're no better or no worse than what we've had before. The Icelandics came in and they promised us the world, and they almost bankrupt us. The previous owners to that didn't spend any money in the way. In fact, probably I remember in the mid 70s when we went out and bought the likes of Phil Parks and players like that, we spent some good money back then. And other than that, when Harry Redknapp was there, he dillied and dallied in the transfer market, but again, not massive funds. So I'm afraid, if I don't like these owners, for what they've done to our history. But if we think that they're any worse than any of the previous owners we've had,
I think that I think the argument here is that there's a lot of people that probably agree. It's the manner in which they agree how the club should move forward. So, like what Stel said, he's not a fan of our owners. Luke, you're not a fan of our owners, and you, Luke, would take pretty much within reason nearly any consortium just to get rid of these owners. Where I probably am on the same wavelength as Still with that. I probably wouldn't just take anyone. I wouldn't take anyone because I don't want to keep making that rigorous mistake that West Ham keep doing, which we do, which is the Icelandics. We've had Terry Brown. I remember those days, and I'm part of the GSB era. That it needs to be the right thing. So, and the reason why this is a topical conversation is the fact that they've spoke out and said we did make the offer back in February. It's a dated conversation, but it's topical because they spoke out and said that they want to buy the club. The biggest controversial thing about this whole thing is Sullivan saying they didn't do something and they're saying that they did. So who the fuck do we believe? Like, what do we do? Like, that's the problem. And it's coming at a very vital time for our club, going into a Europa League season, not signing players yet. Not that I'm panicking yet, but I'm starting to panic a little bit. Why is this all starting to come out now? And what are we doing? And what's the media relations out there doing? The PR system? Like, what is going on?
I'm just interested as to why this story's broken out now when it was an offer that was made back in February. I just want to answer Kimbo. I'm not GSB in. In fact, if anything, I'm GSB out. And James, you're right. These are the only owners that have taken us away from the Boleyn, which is the thing that I hate about them. But when you start comparing their history, people keep saying they don't spend money. They have spent money. They just haven't spent it very wisely. That's the thing. Yeah, but they've spent it really, really badly. But they have invested. They gave Pellegrini £100 million. That's not owners who are greedy and who are only lining their own pockets. They've just not done it in the right way. We should have had a director of football, 10 years ago. And maybe we'd be in a very different situation now where, stopping Sullivan from dabbling in the transfer market. That's the mistakes they've made. They've not run West Ham in a footballing sense. Karen Brady shouldn't be there because she doesn't know anything about football. She's very good at business, but she doesn't know anything about football. And that's the problem that's been with GSB, is that they haven't managed the club in a footballing way. Whereas a lot of other owners, I see the comments about Leicester. Yeah, Leicester are one of a kind.
Well, James, with respect, yes, they do run it like a business. Of course they do.
They're not going to come into.
They're not going to. They just run it. They just run it like a business. But they run it better and they care. They care about the fans. Like they do everything that we want.
I'll give you this. If what's his name was playing for Leicester City, he would have been sold by now for 100 million and they would have reinvested the money. If Declan Rice was a Leicester City player, that's what the owners of Leicester City do. They get a player, a young player, get him in cheap or getting him through the youth ranks, etc. And then when they know that the player's valuable, 50 million, 40 million, 60 million, whatever, they'll sell him. And then they'll go and reinvest that money in the club. So would you lot have been happy if the club did the same thing? Let's say we sell Declan tomorrow, and we reinvest that money. There'll be outcry. Oh my God, we're selling our best player, and there'll be a lot of people that will be low, Luke, and they'll blame the owners for that. They'll blame the owners for that.
I'll tell you why. Right, because the Leicester City owners could sell Declan Rice, and the fans would know that they would get a replacement in that's just as good, if not better, in the long run. Right. Can I just say, people are comparing him to George Michael. That's an insult to George Michael, people. Come on, let's be honest. I like Still, but he ain't no looker. Joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. You are a good looking man, mate, I tell you. Punching above your weight, you misses, but you are a good looking boy. Give you that. Fair play. Anyway, back to the football.
Well, I want to address this. I'm not a board lover, but history tells us money won't be reinvested. They have invested money in players. They just haven't invested money in the right players, which is why I'm saying the infrastructure of the club is wrong. Now, David Moyes has signed a 3-year deal, and he's got them to agree that he's going to start up a scouting system. He's gone out and brought in a head of recruitment. He's building a scouting network. Finally, after 10 years of ownership or 11 years of ownership, the board have finally got a manager that they can trust in. And they've got the money to do it. 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 They've got the mon and they're going to allow him to do what's right for the club, and on all this stuff about where they're not, the board ain't giving him any money. Has anyone thought that perhaps it's David Moyes? David Moyes had 20 million to spend after selling Allaire at wintertime, and he didn't spend it. He went, I don't have anyone I want to buy, and I'd rather save the money for the summer. That's not the board not giving him money, but that's not me being a board lover.
Be fair, but Moyes made a statement, was after the Celtic game, about he wants to make sure it's quality players that he's signing. Was it? I think
quality.
Yeah.
He wants to get quality competition in. He will not go and just buy anyone for the sake of it. And fair enough. The only thing that disappoints me about Moyes is that he takes a hell of a long time to decide on a player. That's the problem. That's the problem. He a lot of people say he's diligent. I say he procrastinates an awful lot. He takes an awful long time to buy a player, but he does it his way. And
does he though?
Well, now he does. Otherwise, he wouldn't have signed a 3-year deal, mate. Because I guarantee you, if with the offer that the board made, if they said to him, "There you go, 3-year deal, David," and if they hadn't given him the authority to go out and get a scouting network, he wouldn't have signed. That's why it took a few weeks for him to sign. He didn't sign it straight after the season ended.
Okay.
And I just think the only thing that frustrates me is that he'll take a bit too long to sign a player. That's all.
I don't think he does. I don't think we signed Bowen and Suchek pretty early as soon as he got given the reins and stuff like that. I'm not arguing with you still. Actually, I agree with a lot of things you say. Believe me, I'm not. There's just certain aspects which I want to say disagree. It's not I know when you say that they invested, right? But if you invest in the wrong way, you aren't a good. Jesus Christ.
James, you honestly believe that David Moyes would have been stupid enough to sign a deal?
How can you talk about football after seeing that? I'm sorry.
I ignore it. But James, do you really believe that Moyes would have been that stupid to sign a deal, and then the board turn around and go, "Well, we haven't really got any money to give you anyway"? I'm sorry, mate. I don't believe it. Why has he gone out and got himself a scouting network? Why has he gone out and got a head of recruitment? Why has he got his son to be a scout at the club? That doesn't sound to me like he's been duped. I'm sorry, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think Scott dithering Dave is more, but then there are two sides to every story. Right, dithering I'm going to go back to bed. I think.
Well, listen, I mean, we've been on for an hour, and I think I need to go to my bed as well. But it was topical. It needed to be spoken about. I mean, there's rumours now talking about saying that West Ham are close to bringing in 2 players.
Simon, hang on, where's the email address? Put that. You remember me from the WAG Club in the 80s, do you? I actually used to go to the WAG Club, but now I know what you meant. You thought I was George Michael. There you go.
Oh, right, okay. So you don't want that out, right? Okay.
No, I don't want it
out. If you are, go and get your point across.
Just do me a favour, but let me know when Sean is going to be on next, right? Because the last time I spoke to him about this sort of subject, I had to go to work. I couldn't stay here and argue with him, right? Because every point that he's ever made about this, I tend to go, what are you talking about? So let me know when he's on here next. I'll see if I'm available. And I'd love to come over and have a chat. Not have a go, just have a little chat. But
Sean will run rings.
Yeah, he won't, mate. I've heard his
He will run rings around all of us because he never gives anyone a straight answer about anything. We enjoy having him on, but he just never.
Honestly, I've sat there, and in my head, I've just shouted at the screen, going, "Sean, I disagree with everything you're saying, and I've got facts to back it up. So please, let me when you come
Well, that should be a good one. Let's bring it on because he always does look for people with facts to battle. So,
I say facts.
I mean, this is what he'll push you for. The fact that you said that would make me choose it. Anyway, listen, if you are watching, I would come on when Sean on. I would destroy him. I mean, good luck with that one, James. I've seen a lot of people try and do it, and it's quite funny to be honest. But it's not funny with the West Ham situation.
I think in a way,
you have joined us for George Michael versus David De Gea. I hope you've enjoyed the battle. I'm not sure who you wanted to win. It never wasn't supposed to be a debate show,
you woke me up from my slumber. I thought I had to go.
Look, he was desperate to come on. He sees a notification on his phone. He's going, right.
No, mate, no. He sent me a message at 11:30 saying, "Are you coming on?" I was like, just about nodding off. I even messaged back saying, no, I'm too tired.
You was 4 rum and cokes down in Portugal, and you were dying to jump on it, even with your wife was next to you,
Mate,
mate. So
rum and
don't give it all that.
Rum and coke's in there. That much rum and that much coke. You know, they fill it up and they go, would you like ice and coke with that? Well, there's no fucking space left in the glass, mate.
To be fair, you done well then, to be fair. After all that, you still look sober, to be fair, so I'll give you that.
Listen, if you are new around here, go and hit the subscribe button. If you are not new around here, and if you are, just go and hit the thumbs up. If you've liked the show, if you haven't liked the show, hit the thumbs down. But please hit the thumbs up because it helps us with the algorithm. Just an evening of careless whispers. How can you... Hold on, what is it?
Boom, boom. Well done.
There's one for you still. He's on the wind up. He's put the LOL at the end. Don't fall for it.
Yeah, good. I'm
Don't
not
fall
falling
for it.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Right, listen, thanks for joining us. This has been West Ham United, and we'll see you today because it's another day for the West Ham Daily. Come on, you Irons.